not surprising, you know. So
Yeah.
as I'm saying, if you're able to make a decision from this side, it should hold that decision should also be able to be made on the other side.
Decisions, right? We still haven't heard quite clearly from Kaizer Daung Jr. whether or not they're keeping Nabi, but it looks like. And they're backing him with signings, Jay. Rumors of these players have circulated, and we think the reports are concrete enough to speak on these players. We just need to hear an official confirmation from Kaizer Chiefs themselves, right? But among those players, Thabiso Monyane, Paseka Mako, Konofeli Bai as well, who's since joined. There's Ethan Chislett as well. There is Flavio Silva as well, which is a striker, yes, that they've gotten as well to try bolster their squad. Jay, are they moving in the right direction, number one? And if you were to profile one of those signings, who would you speak on in terms of Chiefs making those particular moves?
I don't know, Chuck. I don't know, right? Because in an earlier video of ours, I believe at the start of the year, around the January transfer window, I detailed how in the last two years, Chiefs assigned 20 players, and when you then include the graduations from the DDC, it's closer to 30. So they've signed squads worth of players, and it's just not worked out. You know, I feel it's like the Manchester United conversation, whereby when you hear United don't make signings. No, United make signings, but then you then conclude that they don't make the right signings. And it's the same thing at Kaizer Chiefs, that they sign a whole host of players. Bongani Sam is leaving Kaizer Chiefs after playing 0 minutes, having been signed at the start of last season. Why was that decision made? You know, and when at the end of every season, if you're cleaning house, that's a problem, you know. And yeah, you're gonna sign players, and what we see from Chiefs is that they're not buying players. They are signing players who are free, you know, and that's curious as well in terms of what are those conversations like, those negotiations like, when it's actually money that needs to be paid. But also, I don't know what the books of Kaizer Chiefs are, and there's a feeling that teams tend to want to charge Kaizer Chiefs a little more than what a player's worth because it's Kaizer Chiefs, you know, and they absolutely should not get the wool pulled over their eyes. But in terms of these players, Chuck, the two fullbacks from Orlando Pirates, my feeling is, man, if an Orlando Pirates who are chasing Mamelodi Sundowns and had as great a season as they did, and it's easy to forget that they had a great season because they only walked away with the MTN 8 at the start of the season. If they feel that these two players are surplus to requirements, hey, man, do you want to be picking up these players? What are your goals? You know, the case of Uvalibai, that feels like a lesson in patience, right? That wait it out, because Valibai, with the case with the Cape Town Spurs, they didn't really want to sell to Kaizer Chiefs, and I say that because they sold the two players to Stellenbosch. You know, they were able to do business with Stellenbosch, but not with Kaizer Chiefs, and I think maybe the price also they were quoting Kaizer Chiefs was ridiculous. And now they were relegated to the ABC Motsepe League, and those players became free agents because they're not able to afford to pay them. And now Valibai is or might be a Chiefs player going forward, so that one worked out for them. The two then that do stand out is an Ethan Chislett, you know, who decided to come back to South Africa, and the main motivations are that he wants to be able to be seen by the coach Hugo Pros and make it to Bafana, but also he's never played in South Africa. He's the son of a former footballer, the grandson of a former footballer. Was born in South Africa, but has spent the majority of his life in England. And yeah, wants a little flavor of home, and seemingly Kaizer Chiefs is the chosen destination. And then there's the striker, right? Flavio Silva. I don't know about that one, Chuck. I mean, I don't know much about him. Like, I know he's got 39 goals in 78 appearances in Indonesia. I don't know how strong the Indonesian league is, and the reason I'm suspect is because Chiefs have continuously tried to find the striker, right? The big target man, and it's not worked out. It didn't work out with Uranga. It's not worked out clearly with Morris. It didn't work out as well with Christian Saile. And there's also rumors that Igodaro might also be joining in that position. And I know Nabi was successful with who's the striker? With the Fiston, right? There's no Fiston here.
Then they also had this Uruguayan player who played 2 games or one other guy. Not the guy.
Oh no!
Remember?
Yeah, the what was his name? I remember his name now.
I forgot his name as well. But this gambling on this big target man, it's not quite gonna work.
Yeah, he was the worst, Chuck.
Yeah, I know.
I even forgot about that player. Like, he was the worst.
Yeah, no. Mutinuchuna kind of scam. But yeah, as much as they were surplus to requirements, Umunyana and Paseka Marco, we kind of these rivalries where teams just players just cross platforms like that. Like, it's that easy from black and white to black and gold. You can't do that. Where
It's happened all over. It's happened over the years. Jabopule has played for both teams. Stiga has played for both
but
teams.
not straight from the one team to the other. That's that's blasphemy in football in terms.
And it tends to go in this direction, right? When it goes straight. Because I remember Pulani Mkhize from Kaizer Chiefs, Jimmy Tao most famously. It's crazy to me that Jimmy Tao is now more remembered as a Chiefs player, right? Whereas he was great at Orlando Pirates and he was a future Orlando Pirates captain. But it happens, Chuck. Chiefs, they are player Pirates and team.
Yeah, but I mean, look, with Munyani, you have a bit of both players are coming off long-term injuries. That's the risk, right? Especially with Paseka Mako having hit the age of 31, if I'm not mistaken. I wonder how much you can extract from him because the last we saw of him at the back end of the season was right. Was not great. You understood why Hoto was ahead of him. You understood why the other players who came in ahead of him when he then became fit. Munyani as well had a great stint. Like when you look at the first 2 years of Rivero's season at the helm, injury as well. So I don't know, Guti, when you've seen Guti Pirates have then gone to sign Van Rooyen and that's their preferred option when it comes to both players being fit. You wonder as Chiefs in terms of how far in terms of progress do you want to go, because you can get you in the top 8, those kind of players, but you must have more. You must want more. I understand the context of where Chiefs are in this season, but Chiefs are Chiefs. They always have to be challenging for something. It might not be realistic, but the fans expect that. It's a big name brand, which is why someone like Ethan Chislett wants to come to Chiefs because he's expectant of something great happening at Kaizer Chiefs. So Ethan Jay comes to Chiefs with that history, right? With his grandfather, with him being an attacking midfielder, tends to bag a couple of goals, right? Where he's played, I think, at Port Vale, at championship level, if I'm not mistaken. I was very curious from you. You move from championship,
League One,
championship and then League One. Yeah. So it's second division. It's very curious that you'd move from that place to then go to Kaizer Chiefs. Maybe the money is comparable. Maybe the Chiefs pool is big enough. Maybe, as you said as well, he wants to be seen by Hugo Broos a bit more closely. He wants to play for Bafana Bafana. I don't know. What will work in his benefit, right, is that Championship, League One teams, they play with a high tempo. And sometimes these other signings that have been a gamble or have had pressure placed upon them to shine have struggled with the pace of the PSL. So for me, I think he could come in and shine. He could come in and be great. But for players to come in and be great at Kaizer Chiefs, it's a dime a dozen, Jay. It was Thabo Cele and who else? So it'll be a hard job to do that. But if they keep someone like Castillo, they've got Thabo Cele, then he's got a good platform to come in and shine, if he is that player indeed, right? If he is that guy who's going to come in and not pull the strings, but be their creative fulcrum for them at that 10 position. If he's got that base of Cele and Castillo, if you've got players like Umshin who comes through and gives us more of what he showed glimpses of. And I know we keep saying this about Umshin, right? He's got the potential. If you can therefore put it together, then Chislett can do something. But I have the same concerns with you, Jay, in terms of Abo Flavio. My man, I don't know.
We'll see, right?
Yeah.
We'll see. Another man, actually, a former Pirates man, who might also be joining Kaizer Chiefs, is Undlov, because that one also, and I think he might be a good addition. He's an engine. He was the standout player so often for SuperSport, a SuperSport that struggled, and he was doing everything, especially with Mahaman missing for a majority of the season. And yeah, those additions, hopefully they do help Kaizer Chiefs. That's to be seen.
He went from Paris to SuperSport, so if he goes to Chiefs,
yeah, he's a former Chiefs man as well. But we'll see. Chuck.